my actual contact information. I don't make promises too often, but I do promise you're going to want this name someday. It is yours. But I come to you today as a representative of AMF Bowling Company. Did I hit the right button? Did you hit power?
Yeah, hit that. Hold that button down. It's on now. Okay, it'll come up. It takes a couple seconds. Over here. Clyde, Ohio.
Oh, man, correct. So we have
Some Clyde Flyers.
That's not the flow. That was so smooth.
Well, it's my understanding that everyone here is in the market for a pin spotter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Talking to a room full of proprietors of bowling centers, right?
Yes.
Perfect. I'm in the right spot. Well, as I said, oh, what is it now?
No, turn that off.
Okay, we're golden.
All right.
All right. So, I'm representing my company, AMF Bowling Company, and today I want to talk to you about my new XLi EDGE pin spotter. Well, for those of you that don't know, a pin spotter is that big loud machine at the end of the lane. So that big thing that takes the pins is the pin spotter. A little bit about what it does is it does receive the ball and the pins. It will then take the ball, return it to the bowler. So that nice machine that spits your ball back out, the ball comes from this machine. The machine will collect and respot the pins you knock over, or respot the ones you don't. But what's nice about this machine is when used with Cubica AMF scoring system, will actually communicate with your customers, keeping them informed as to what's going on with the machine. This is the only pin spotter designed to make your job easier. But before I keep going, I mentioned that I represent Cubica AMF. I want to give you a little bit of information about who we are as a company and where we come from. AMF was founded in 1900 as the American Machine and Foundry Company producing industrial equipment. In 1938, a man named Frank Schmidt, I do believe, had this idea, because at this point in time, bowling pins were still respotted by pin boys, which are little children anywhere from 8 to 18, standing there hoping for their lives and don't get hit by a bowling pin. Well, Schmidt here, like I said, in 1938, he had this idea. We need to find a way to fix this. And by 1946, we have our first automatic pin spotter. And by 1952, they were in full production. In '94, AMF merged with Cubica to now create a powerful icon in bowling and scoring. Now, AMF's name has been synonymous with bowling since its beginning. But teaming up with Cubica, we now have, like I said, an advanced scoring system from 1994. And on Cubica AMF equipment, record after record has been broken. The number of 300s skyrocketed, and so on and so forth. In 2013, AMF merged with Bowlmore, one of the oldest and longest lasting bowling center franchises. With the merger, we now employ over 7,500 people in the country in over 270 centers, bringing in a combined revenue of about $450 million. And with our company, innovation never stops, because as we know, this industry is always growing. And if the industry is growing, if we want to stay in it, we have to keep growing with it. Now back to my pin spotter. The XLi EDGE pin spotter is quality made right here in the USA, and believe it or not, Mechanicsville, Virginia. The nice thing about this machine is there are no intrusive metal surfaces, which means there's nothing in the machine that comes in contact with the pins that can damage them. Now, the cost of bowling pins is outrageous. To fill an average center, you're looking at hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. And an average center is going to replace these pins every other year or so. In fact, right here at VU, when I got here last year as a freshman, we had brand new Brunswick bowling pins. And by this time in the year, they're already going to have to order more, because the machines we have tear them up brutally. And the other thing that goes along with the metal surfaces is our high-impact engineered thermoplastics. Now what this means is the surfaces that do touch the pins are made of a material that is less dense than the plastic coating on the pins. So like I said, there's nothing the pins will touch that will damage them, which improves the length of time that you can use these pins, cutting costs substantially. Now, I want to ask you some questions. Let me ask you, Where do you see your business in 15, 20 years? You see it making money, right? You see your business being profitable down the road. Now you got all this money coming in. How do you feel about seeing it spent on machine maintenance? Thousands a year. It's terrible. No one wants to be throwing money out the door. Now how about spending that money on hours training new employees every time they come on staff? You can't afford it. Or what about these high, outrageous energy costs? Now these machines, these are some big, bad mamma jammas. They're sucking juice, you know? And nobody wants to see all of their hard-earned cash going out the door before they can even open them. Now my machine is designed easier for you as a proprietor. This machine is very energy efficient, which will help reduce that problem we just mentioned. And the automatic shutdown means that whenever the machine is not in use, whether it's between frames, maybe your bowlers are out having lunch over at the snack bar, then what the machine will do is instead of continuously run and burn in energy, it's just going to slow down and go to sleep. This machine is also designed with fewer wear parts, which means that outrageous maintenance cost will be cut. You're no longer having to replace thousands of dollars worth of machine parts. And this big piece right here on the back, this is the patented Edge Performance Lift and Cam. And what that big piece is, you really can't see it because of the nice cover on it. But what that part does is that lifts the pins up from the bottom. It's a large wheel. Now something that's very new and revolutionizing to this industry is that wheel, that lift cam, can be moved. It can be removed from the machine, which means your mechanic can now get inside the machine without causing extra pain to his back, to his body, and without even mentioning the amount of time reduction. Now fixes can be done in half the time because the mechanic can get to where they have to get to without the extra waste of time. And another thing we can't see, I'll show you a picture in a little bit, is the Durabin. The Durabin is the part of the machine where the pins are sitting right before they get dropped down where the bowler can see them. This part of the machine, also constructed with those high impact thermoplastics, is where the pins will sit. And the machine is designed to not hold more pins than it can handle to help reduce damage size. Ken says he was spending about 1,000 euros per machine per year. Now 1,000 euros is just over $1,100. Now let me give you something to look at. Let's say the average center he owns is 20 lanes. So he has 4 centers, 20 lanes apiece. So you have roughly 80 lanes. Now take 80 lanes and multiply that by $1,100. You are literally throwing out 88,000 American dollars just to keep the machines running.
90,185.
Is that what the number? Perfect. I'm lowballing, as you can see. That is 2 part-time or full-time minimum wage salaries gone. That is money that could be spent on other things. And like I said, that's before you even open the door. That's before you include energy costs. That's before you include salary, laborers. That is just to keep the machines in working condition. Billy Frederick, a managing partner of XLi in Tacoma, Washington, says that we've saved a lot in terms of time and money. We no longer use the contact mechanic, meaning they no longer have a full-time mechanic on staff. And we have saved about $15,000 a year in just parts and out-of-pocket labor expenses. And that's $15,000 taken away from the ADA. That's $15,000 that can be put towards your customers, that can be put towards employee benefits, to increase morale, and more importantly, this leads to a cleaner, more safe video will show the mechanic and the staff how to do it. And this machine has the fewest critical adjustments in the industry, which means compared to my competitor, you're going to run into bigger problems. Sure, no machine's perfect. There will be the occasional stop. But my competitor, say their machine breaks down, that machine can be out of commission. In fact, many of the machines here at BU, especially the bottom side, we've had tons of problems where my competitor's machines have broken down and have just been out of use for weeks at a time. Because there are some problems that just can't be fixed by our people. We have to hire an expert to come into the company. This machine reduces that problem by a huge margin. And I already mentioned the way that you can take the back off to get to it. The open modular design of the machine makes it so much easier to fix these stops. A common thought on an AMF machine is oftentimes referred to as a pin jam, meaning that the pins will get piled up on the Durabin, as you see right here. Before the Durabin, it was even harder because it's just a wide open metal frame, and the pins will get piled up. Now with this open modular design, any staff member can climb on top of the machine and clear the pins, oftentimes before the bowlers even know. And what's one of my favorite parts of this machine, something that we don't have here, is this machine will personally stay in contact with your staff. So like I mentioned, sometimes you can fix a problem before the customer knows. This machine will radio and intercom the employees, letting them know if there's a problem occurring, oftentimes before the machine actually stops. We go back to hens here. One of my technicians said he's never seen a pin spotter that's easier to learn than the XLi EDGE. Now once again, I can't stress how simple that is, because it's very important that your staff knows what they're doing to increase safety, and more importantly, with the efficiency. We are running a business, and we can't afford to have our employees not knowing what they're doing. With this machine, it eliminates the issue. Let me ask you one more question. By show of hands, how many of you here have bowled at some point? Just about every hand should be up, right? Now keep your hands up if you've had a less than satisfying experience. Hands should probably stay up, right? That's what I thought. Ms. Pacheco, I understand you've had a less than satisfying experience right here on the U. Would you like to share that?
Yeah, actually, we came in a month or a month and a half ago. Brought my daughter in, go bowling, packed.
So the guy from the restaurant actually, he was busy anyway. We started to bowl, and I don't know if you're familiar with the lanes, but if you're facing
The lanes, and here's the customer service desk. And it's right on the left-hand side of the customer service desk. Our lane goes right there. It's jammed like every time we threw the ball. Not every time, but probably 80% of the time we threw the ball, it was jammed. It was not limited right at all.
Of course not. And we can't stress enough that we want our customers happy. If our customers are leaving unsatisfied or at the worst, aggravated, disappointed with our product or our service, not only will they not return, but word of mouth is a very popular tool, very impressive and powerful tool. All it takes is for them to go say, man, we were there last weekend, it was terrible, we were sitting around waiting half the time, and when we had a problem, we couldn't get a hold of anybody, everyone was running around with their chickens with their heads cut off. And then your friends will go tell their friends, and their friends will tell their friends, and next thing you know, your audience is going to happen.
I was just going to share, I've never really had a good time at the bowling alley, but Creole is always on point.
Is it?
Yes, I like Creole a lot.
You're the first ever to tell me that.
Really?
Yeah. Well, this machine, because I've kind of hinted at, is also intended to be easier for your customer. This machine is the quietest operating machine on the market today. Now, if you've been, especially here at VU, I like to keep bringing them up. Our machines are far from silent. In fact, a lot of them, especially if the room's empty, you can't think straight because you're hearing belts whine at this side or just loud gears over at that side. Well, this machine is proven to be the quietest one available today. And as I mentioned, this machine, when used with cubicle scoring systems, communicates with the customer. This is another one of my favorite features that are demonstrated here with our product. If there is a pin jam or any sort of holdup, the first people to be notified, other than our staff, are the bowlers. The message will come up on the screen letting you know that there is a problem, more importantly, that the mechanics and staff are already on it. We don't want our customers thinking that they're standing around and no one cares. We don't want that to happen to you ever again. And with my machine, I can almost promise that the frustration that comes from that uncertainty is eliminated. And also, this machine is it's an unmatched reliability. We have a very efficient product. Our competitor's machine, yes, it's a very nice product. And although it may be, to some people, the preferred choice, but my simpler design is so much easier for people to work on, it's so much easier to learn, that the problems that we may occur become seamless. I like to show you here Gary France, facilities manager out of Kingpin Lanes in Louisville, Kentucky. He says 2,000 frames per stop, meaning that the amount of frames a machine can run before the stops. 2,000 frames per stop is about the best you can do on a run A2, which are half the machines we have here. But we're getting an average of about 9,400 transfer stop since installing the new machines. Those new machines, of course, the XLi EDGE, more than quadrupling, the numbers of our competitor. We have time to focus on other areas of the facility and improving service levels. Customers have a better experience. Now, all of that comes down to the amount of time that's not spent running around the center. When our staff is well informed and can take care of problems before they happen, and the problems are reduced in such the stature that we have here at Kings and Lanes, that the extra time can be added to help customer service to make sure that your bowlers leave happy and satisfied. But there's always the but questions. There's the but Isaac, what about this? What about that? What if but Isaac, why should I spend the money to upgrade right now? Why do I need your machine? It's never too early to start planning for the future. I want more than anything for your business, your industry to continue to last until the day you pass it on to your children and on to their children. I want your company, your center to last forever. And it's never too early to start working on that right now. Well, why should I buy this pin spotter over the competition's product? Now, Brunswick, my main competitor, their newest product is the GSX series pin spotter, or pin setter, sorry. Roughly, more. 5 different parts. Now, that's not including multiples of each part, but over 3,500 parts. The XLi EDGE pin spotter has just barely over 1,500, which is less than half of a competitor, which means your maintenance cost, your part replacement expenses will be cut in half as well. But I can't afford it. I understand more than anybody that these machines are massive, which means they're not cheap. And I understand that bowling centers can have high expenses with these machines. And I understand that if you're still using the old ones, chances are your expenses are a little high for you to be thinking about upgrading. But I can promise that with this company, we are more than willing to work with you. If you can't do the whole machine right now, we can upgrade bits and pieces at a time until you can afford it. Or maybe we can just do two pair, 4 pair, whatever works for you, whatever can fit into your budget. Because at the end of the day, we're not looking for the sale, we're looking for your center to grow. So whatever we can do little by little to help you improve at your expense, I want to make sure that we're not trying to force you into anything. Sure, we're a business, we're in it to make a profit. But more importantly, we want your center to improve at the pace that you can handle. Because the last thing we want to do is bankrupt our customers. But I think it looks exactly like the 8270 pin spotter. What makes this one any better? Well, we've all heard the phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, the simple design of the XLi EDGE is very similar to the AMF products we have here. But at just about every level, it is the new and improved version. The Dura bin, like I mentioned, is so much more efficient than the bin we have on the 8270s. The distributor, the orienter pin, the part that turns the pins and flips them into the bin, is far more advanced, reducing the amount of pin jams exponentially. And the XLi EDGE patented lift is so much easier and lighter, so the mechanics can work on it. And I can't stress enough, like I said, that this machine, although it looks similar, is far none better, and I can promise that. But my customers don't have a problem with the center the way it is now. My customers are already happy. So you're telling me you don't want them to be happier. There's never a point in a proprietor's day that they should sit and say, I'm satisfied with where we are. Anybody beyond proprietors should always want to take that extra step, go that extra mile. And you can never stop making your center perfect. And they say perfection can't be reached. Well, just let your other friends know that you'll send a postcard when you get there. Oh. My mechanics and staff don't have the time to learn a new machine. I hear this all the time. Yes, I understand the overhaul of putting new machines into the center is quite a task. Yes, the center may have to be down for a few days. But you're always looking down the road. Long term is the biggest goal right now. Sure, your center can maintain a good pace for a little while. But what's going to happen in 10 years when your customers, your friends that you grew up with, move on? Do their kids know you? No. The generations that come aren't going to have that extra friendship, that loyalty. Those generations that come need to be proven that the center they're going to go spend their money in is what it needs to be. So, upgrade now. Like I mentioned, our machine is far none the easiest and simplest to learn. I can promise that within a short while, your mechanics aren't going to look back and say, that was a waste of time, these machines are terrible. Your mechanics are going to say, I'm glad we did that. It's like I hardly made the switch. I feel right at home. Now I'm coming to you today, not as a salesperson. Yes, I represent AMF. Yes, I'm discussing selling you this XLi EDGE pinspotter. But I'm coming to you and speaking to you today as a bowler. From one bowler to another, I'm not here to make a buck. I'm here because I want to see your bowling center prosper. I want to see this game last as long as it can last, and down the road be even more popular than it ever has been. I'm selling this to you, as I said, a bowler to a bowler. And I know this pinspotter can give your center the edge that you need. So on that note, when can we get together and make this sport time right now?
I want to open a bowling alley.